Welcome to Soul Sync, where we pause long enough to hear the truth beneath the noise. I'm your host, Pamela J. Thomas. Today's episode is a conversation about navigating life's transitions, and I'm honored to be joined by one of my good friends, Dr. Tayo Denton, the visionary behind Get Your Sassy Back. But before we dive in, let's take a breath together. Let's close our eyes, give a wiggle to the neck, plant your feet on the ground, and just take a deep breath in. Pause for a moment and exhale. Let something go. Invite something in. And when you're ready, we can open our eyes. And let's begin. Hi, Dr. Tayo. Thank you so much for being here today. We've had the opportunity to have many conversations over the last couple of years, but I'm so excited for my audience to be able to hear your wisdom and your truth today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, Pamela. Always a pleasure. Always a really good pleasure.
Yeah, we have fun. We have fun and we get work done too, but we have fun. And you were on. And by the way, you folks, I want you to know, if you haven't seen the inaugural roundtable, Women Don't Retire roundtable, she was one of my exalted guests on that show, and she and the other ladies were fantastic. So take a look at that if you haven't seen it. So at the beginning of this, I kind of like to have people talk about their personal journey, because one of the things about being in transition is that nobody walks through these things the same way. But if you know you're not alone and you hear other people's stories, it can inspire you to keep going when it's hard.
True.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your journey, because you have transitioned from being in a medical practice and even in a hospital to now helping women outside of that environment manage that process we call menopause and perimenopause. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how transitions have been a core part of that process.
Okay. Well, for years, decades, in fact, I was a practicing specialist radiologist, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, a few years before I did the transition into what I do now, I went through a rather, shall we say, traumatic menopause journey. I really did. You'd think as a physician, I should know what was going on. Like most women out there, I later realized I didn't know diddly.
Yeah.
They don't teach you that one in medical school. They don't teach you the symptoms. So most doctors don't know the symptoms. So can you imagine if the doctors don't know the symptoms, the women don't know the symptoms?
Exactly.
And maybe we got half an hour just to say menopause is when the hormones decline, and at the end of it, it's menopause. And that was it. Nothing about the symptoms, because these were all males at the time.
Yes.
And the vast majority of gynecologists are probably still male. They just didn't understand. It wasn't their lived experience either. So going through that, like I said, was so traumatic. I couldn't sleep. I was exhausted. I was just, just popping my eyelids open just to try and, not with coffee, but, just willpower, and spending more hours at work.
Yes.
Just to get the work done, which means that everything else fell by the wayside. And I said, guess what? There has to be a way out of this. I went to go and see my gynae. She put me on hormone treatment. 7 months later, and not sleeping. And I thought, this has got to stop.
Yeah.
So I went through a process of a journey, shall we say, of looking at alternatives to what I knew.
Yes.
I said, okay, what are the alternatives? And I started piecing together bit by bit by bit. I still took hormones for 5 years. I kept on increasing the dose of hormones, which should tell everybody one thing. It wasn't working.
Yes.
It was not working.
Yeah.
So the funny thing happened. With all those tweaks I had been doing, there was some improvement, but it wasn't noticeable enough for me at what I thought to come off the hormones.
Yeah.
But when it got to a high dose, I said, enough already. I will take it as it comes. Pamela, almost as soon as I stopped taking those hormones, I started improving leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
It was like the hormones had placed a lid on all the things I had been doing. Like, you have your hose and you have a kink in the hose, and the water flowing through is a lower stream. And when you release the kink, which was the hormone treatment in my book, everything just like, whoa, fresh, blooming.
Yes.
And there came a time, and you mentioned about transitions from what I was doing into now. And there came a time when I said, okay, apart from a project that I had, which I was putting out at health center, I said, guess what? I've been through all the major changes in radiology. When I say all the major technology changes for the last X number of years, I've been at the forefront of almost all of them.
Yeah.
And I said, I've done that. There's nothing new on the horizon. And I just wanted to do something else, something that felt meaningful to me, something that I could absorb myself in. And it had to be something to do with caring for people.
Yes.
That's a passion of mine. And so I looked around and I said, what better? People don't know about this. What better than explaining menopause, supporting them through their journey so that they can also have the benefits of my knowledge, know that, in order to transform, it's not just about knowledge.
Yes.
But they can have the benefits of being able to transform with the knowledge and not make the same mistakes I did.
Yes. I know. I believe we've had this conversation about my journey with menopause and perimenopause in particular, because honestly, the menopause part has been much easier. Not perfect. Still have things to work on. But the perimenopause part was challenging. And it was because I had about 10 subclinical symptoms. Everything was not, something that the doctor would be ready to jump on. But I felt like I was losing my mind. And so I totally get that thing. And what I really appreciate about your story is that you ended up having to do the same thing that I did, which it's kind of trial and error. You kind of have to explore because nobody's journey with this is the same.
Nobody. And that's what few people underestimate. They assume that if your BFF is doing something, it would work for you.
That's right.
Number one, there are somewhere between 30 and 100 symptoms, depending on who you're listening to. Which one do you pick? Which one does she have? Which one does she have?
That's right.
And there may be some that you actually had that you didn't realize you had. And the same thing happened to me with joint pains. I mean, I had joint pains, but I didn't realize at the time that it was part of the menopause spectrum because they just look so different. It's not a reproductive symptom.
That's right.
So you think, what is going on here? It's different. And the danger in that is that you treat your joint pain as separate from your hot flashes, as separate from your weight gain, as separate from your exhaustion, because you don't know that they are all linked.
Yes. Yeah, and I have to tell you, a naturopath saved me. My doctor she was fantastic and I loved her, but they have not been trained. Now, doctors now, it's like a different thing. Mine was about 20 years ago. And at that point, and my dad's OBGYN, by the way, so I'm not criticizing doctors because I understand. Literally, there's nothing in the curriculum. And so my dad knew a lot, and he knew more than most because he had a natural approach. But she was like wanting me to go to the sleep center and this center and that center. I see the endocrinologist. And all of those things are wonderful. But when I looked at the sleep center, I was like, oh, okay, I got to try something else. And I actually went directly to raw foods, which in 2 weeks' time took away like half the symptoms. So actually more than half of the symptoms. So again, I'm not recommending that's what people do. And I know you have a faster path than I have because I was trying stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm so excited for folks to have the opportunity to consult with a medical professional or people who are trained in medicine to actually find solutions faster. Because it took me quite a while to figure out that I even had a problem. But the naturopath said,
yes,
all those symptoms, that's perimenopause. And all of a sudden I had the opportunity to start figuring out what was going on. Because as you said, with all the different symptoms, if you're not putting it together into what the cause is, it's like
and you've mentioned it, something really important, because the term perimenopause is actually a recent term.
Yes, it is.
I'm willing to bet that when you were going through the symptoms, it did not exist.
Yeah, she didn't
No, it's a recent term meant to separate the fact that the part where you have a lot of the symptoms happens before when you have menopause, which menopause is actually just one single date.
That's right.
So you have perimenopause with all the symptoms. You have menopause, which is 12 consecutive months after your last menstrual period. And then you have postmenopause, or sometimes people just call it menopause, which is from that point on, the date of menopause for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean that the symptoms you had in perimenopause won't carry through. In fact, a significant number of women
Yes.
do carry on with symptoms well after hot flashes. Somebody told me the other day, hot flashes still at 80. Can you believe it?
No.
So it can happen, and it's significant enough to really cause, you can't settle into your skin. You can't settle into your life, and you're looking at all these solutions. The thing is, when you can get something that deals with it in its entirety,
Yep.
and it is not hormone replacement, I have to tell you.
Yeah. Well, we're saying that because I had a conversation with someone just in the last week about my sleep. I'm having sleep issues. I'm probably going to call you. Let me contact you.
Please do.
Sleep issues. And the first thing they said was, you can get on estrogen replacement. And I'm like, they don't have any medical. And I was like, oh, so I think I want to do other things first. Meds tend to have side effects.
Yes. I mean,
and in the right,
there's a quote.
Don't say in the right place, it's good, but they have.
Yes, in the right place, it's good. But everybody should realize a few things, which your readership may not be aware. Number one, hormones are messengers. They are not the message. The message comes from the effects of the hormones. So what messages are they trying to convey? The other thing is, because of that, they are a band-aid. They are passive. There is nothing active. No hormone treatment will tell you when to eat, what time to go to bed, when to get your best form of exercise, how to keep calm. No form of hormone treatment will do that for you. And that's an integral part of what you need to function as a human being and as a well woman.
Yes.
So when people realize that hormones, the way, my perspective, it's driven by the pharmaceutical industry because it's an easy, quick fix. People buy into it. Yet, when they dig into the data, a lot of women don't do well on it.
That's right.
Even the so-called bioidentical ones. You keep on taking increasing dose. Remember, I told you 5 years? Increasing doses and still getting lesser returns and not feeling well.
That's right.
And when you take it, you may feel better for a while. The minute you come off, the symptoms come right back.
Yeah.
So why did you waste those number of years?
That's right.
Taking it. That's when you could have actually built up some other protocol that would last for the rest of your life.
Yes. And a lot of it's lifestyle changes. I mean, I assume that's a big part of your, because the fact is what works at 20 doesn't work at 40.
Yes. And it's realizing that there's a change going on. How do you harness what you know and what I call ancestral wisdom?
Yes.
So here's what you do. Your body has memory. It has memory from your ancestors.
Yep.
There is something that worked for the ancestors. It hasn't changed that much. What has changed are all the new things we're doing, transportation, the foods we're eating, the environment we're in, but our bodies fundamentally and our response to certain things, our response to sunlight, our response to the kind of foods we eat, the types of when we eat the foods, that has not changed dramatically. And when we try and move away from it to fit into the current modern world, there's a dissonance that happens.
Yes.
Yes. So we need to go back to looking at what those ancestral wisdoms are. Guess what? Yes, we have to adapt some of it, but not dramatically. It just means forming, realizing there's a change, and forming some new habits. And those new habits you combine with cutting edge. And that's the advantage of, I don't practice medicine anymore, but I'm using my medical knowledge to be able to apply and dissect a lot of the research that's coming up, because of some of it is just plain garbage.
Money-driven probably. But
money-driven problems. So you will find, there's an interesting one, and some other time we can talk about it, but how the research data is so skewed, and it has been for a long time, by money. And if people have the funds to pay for a study, they expect positive results. And if they don't get positive results, they bury it. So you have a completely skewed research, process right now.
Yes.
And it's hard to find people who have the money to do totally independent research.
Yes.
Without any monetary constraints or any monetary obligations, shall we say.
Yes. Yes.
So, in all of that, we marry those ancestral wisdoms with cutting edge science as well as technology. Technology, don't let anybody tell you technology is bad. It's going to save a lot of things. It's going to develop a lot of things, but you have to use it the right way.
That's right.
It's going to save humanity for sure.
Yeah.
But it
I
has
believe
to be
that
harnessed
too.
the right way. Yes.
Yeah. And the things that we think are powerful, that we have used to navigate are not going to be, we can't use them in the same way because technology is going to amplify in a way that we won't be able to keep up with if we continue to use things without some discernment, which is how we've kind of done a lot of stuff. I mean, there's been a lot of growth, but there's not a lot of discernment around an ethical discernment and these type of things. So,
and there'll be always people who are going to try and, make a quick gain or just be mischievous by the use of it.
Yeah.
And so we just have to put enough out there for people to be aware so that they steer away from those kind of black hat, as they call them, techniques and people who lead you astray. Some is just pure mischief. Some it's for money. The other is for power.
That's
but whichever way it works, because this technology of AI particularly is so powerful that we're practically at the age of superintelligence.
That's right.
So they are getting to be, what they don't have right now is the emotional responses that we have. And because they learn, there is no reason to suspect that it won't happen soon.
That's right. It's amazing. It's amazing to see the leaps that have taken place just over the last few years. And actually over the last 6 months. Let me be honest.
Yes.
The tools I have access to now versus 6 months ago, I'm kind of like, it's very powerful. It can be actually, as you said, life-saving and world-saving. It has that capacity, no doubt. In the right context and used not judiciously, but with discernment. It may be judicious and it may be not, but you have to discern appropriateness. It's a powerful thing. But let me just say, so this conversation is about transitions, navigating them, and everybody's transitioning at the moment in ways we never have dreamed of. And the impact on our nervous system, which has an impact on our menopause and everything else we're doing, right? The impact on our nervous system of all of these transitions is incredibly powerful. And I think that the technology to manage that, we're just beginning to learn something about it. Honestly, I don't know what do you think about that? And what does transition mean in this environment where everything's changing so fast? I mean, my grandparents couldn't imagine anything changing as fast as what we're looking at now.
Yes. And it's a generational thing. I think, the world will continue evolving whichever way we have it. I think that we need to get on top of it all as much as we can. And I'm going to put an element of keep our fingers crossed. There are some things, because change is inevitable.
That's right.
The way we evolved from our ancestors, it's like, from being, on all fours all the way to, being erect, all the way to, now, all the way to features changing.
That's right.
All the way to, it was a millennial process, and it looks very fast right now.
Yes.
But it probably, in terms of history, is not fast. And yet there were changes. There were real changes that happened.
Yeah.
And I think it's inevitable. And therefore, whether they talk about survival of the fittest,
yes,
you got to adapt.
Yeah. So what are some of the strategies you use to adapt to change that's coming at you, like in this environment, and how? Yeah. What are some of those? What are some of those things that you're relying on to adapt to all of these changes? Because I think people need ideas.
Yes, it's fundamentally, I consider myself a learner, a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
So I think, but with that, comes the fact that you need to be able to prioritize what you want, the information you want. And it's not scrolling on Instagram. It is not watching the latest binge watching the multiple series. It's figuring out if this is happening now. Wayne Gretzky said, you don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where it's going to be. Put your mind forward. Use your creative energies. Use your power of being, and we can dream and say, oh my gosh, if this is where it is now, if there was something that was straight out of science fiction when you were young, what might it be?
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you might be the one who's going to come up with something else that is going to save, us from a lot of stuff. Because it doesn't come from a vacuum. There's a universal energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you have the idea and don't develop it, it's not really your idea. The idea is for all of us. So if you have an idea, get out there and work on it now. Because if you don't do it, you will find somebody completely across the globe, and you'll be like, how did they know my idea? It's not your idea.
You stole the idea, you from my mouth, not stole, but you know what I'm saying. You said just
intellectual property. Yes. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. And there are people who use things inappropriately. But the truth is there's universal wisdom that's out there, and looking for someone to run with it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's important to recognize, just as you said, and there was a famous saying about Michael Jackson once upon a time, and he would wake some of his producers, etc., in the middle of the night, and maybe hum a song to them, or he had an idea. Why are you waking me up at 3 a.m. in the morning? He says, because I've got this idea, and if I don't do it, Prince will come up with it.
Yeah. So he knew who his.
So he knew
who the other person
it
would
wasn't
be.
his idea. Not in the not I've got this and nobody else can copy it.
That's
not
right.
true.
That's right. And by the way, you don't worry about things like that if you are a constant learner. You know that you're trying to move with the times, not trying to hold everything static.
Yes.
Holding information like that is a static thing. And again, I'm not saying that we don't all have things that might be proprietary. I'm just saying, don't get stuck there. Keep moving what you do forward. Keep moving,
keep evolving
forward. Whatever it is you're choosing to do. If it's your nonprofit,
keep evolving, because you stay there like a car that stays in a garage.
Yes,
it's just going to rust.
That's right.
The car that is running has a better longevity than the car in the garage.
That's right. And that's the truth. That's absolutely the truth. That's the truth about ideas and many, many other things. Many, many other things. What's one point of wisdom that you wish more women in transition understood, or something that you feel like that could help a lot of folks?
I think one of the primary things is to realize that menopause causes accelerated aging. So when you think of not just what's happening now to you, but what the future is going to look like, then one of your aims is going to be, how do I address that accelerated aging and prevent it from being accelerated? Doesn't mean you're not going to age, but it means that you're going to be aging faster than men if you don't do anything.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay. I'm not surprised, but I hadn't heard that. And I know it to be true, because when I called it the pace. My perimenopause, I was like, the pains came, and I was like, oh, my body, whose body is this, and can I return it? But when you're in pain like that, all of a sudden you stop moving. And then and that's like a snowball effect. Stop moving and see what happens. The body atrophies extremely. Muscles atrophy within like 24 hours. Begin the process. It's not
absolutely. Your body wants to move. It's made to move.
Yes.
And it's made for consistent movement. Small. We're not talking of run a marathon and do nothing for the next 10 days.
That's right.
We're talking of constant small movements. Your body's meant to move. Your brain is meant to groove, as I say. It's meant to kind of like, hey, you're meant to be in sustained low level motion when you're awake
Yep.
and go into complete rest and recovery when you're asleep.
Yes.
There is no
And
all on or all off.
But
I beg your
we're
pardon?
also missing the restorative part in
Yes.
sleeping, especially in menopause. I imagine men must have some sleep issues, but I don't know. I don't know any specifics. I'm just speculating. But
Yes.
yeah, no, I mean the sleep thing, and everybody told me when I was younger that you need less sleep when you're old. I haven't experienced
I agree with you, because when you sleep, and if you are really quite, shall we say, active during the day, that prepares you from saying, okay, I've done this during the day. I wasn't sitting all day long.
Yeah.
I wasn't, just, piddling around during the day.
Yeah.
And you get, tired enough for sleep to become a natural welcome part of your day
Yeah.
and night.
Yeah.
But if you have been sitting all day, you don't feel tired, and all you do is binge watching, popping stuff into your middle of in your mouth in the middle of the night, then no surprise, you can't sleep.
Yeah.
Your body is just being bombarded 24/7 with all kinds of things. People snack all day long.
Yeah.
People, do all kinds of things in the middle of the night. They're scrolling, then they go to bed and the phone is next to them and they want to, address calls. Your body is not being given the opportunity.
Yeah. We actually have to practice some sort of sleep hygiene on a regular basis so
And
that
that's why I say we go back to ancestral wisdom.
Yeah.
Because when the sunset came down, when sunset was there, they had their wood fires, they'd tell stories, they'll have community gatherings, they'll discuss what happened to the day, and after that, they go and sleep in their tents.
That's right. But I'm telling you, one of the things I've noticed for myself, and it's funny because other people think I'm nuts, but I turn lights down and off at night because I know my circadian rhythm has been greatly impacted by all this artificial light that we use indoors.
It's everybody.
I know, and
It's everybody.
I recognize, and it makes a difference. If I'm up until 10, which is I call it, that's the hour I turn into a pumpkin. But if I'm up until 10 and the lights are on bright, I have a much harder time. Now, I don't ever have a problem falling asleep. I have a problem when I wake up going back to sleep normally. But if I have lights on, I can hardly get to sleep. It's like I've been overstimulated, and I know the melatonin thing, but it is amazing, these small things that you can do to help you.
Because you just said it, those small hinges that swing big doors.
That's right.
Because it may look small to a lot of people, but they swing fairly huge doors, which affect the quality of your sleep.
Yes.
And sleep is not a monolith. It is not, I want to sleep, I put my head on the pillow, I go to sleep.
That's right.
If life were so simple, it is a series of things you do during your day.
That's right.
Even from the night before, but even during your day, by the time you get to bed, how quickly do you fall asleep?
Yep.
Do you having all kinds of thoughts? Do you prepare for sleep? When you sleep, do you wake up? What happens? You fall, obligatory, some people, going to the bathroom or whatever. And when you wake up, do you go back to sleep easily? When you wake up, do you feel refreshed, or have you feeling like, you got 10 rounds with Mike Tyson?
Yeah. Yes. Well, are there any specific practices or rituals that anchor you throughout your day to just ensure that you're not running the rat race, I guess?
It's a combination of everything that I put into, the program I have, actually, because
okay.
it's to do with, making sure I get good sleep, and the sleep practices that I have. See, they're all intertwined. So you can't just solve for sleep, as I would say, and think that you can leave how you move your body, or the food you eat, or how you look after your mental health, or how you keep calm out of it. They all have to come together, because it's like a cake. If you take all the ingredients separately, it's not going to taste like anything.
That's right.
When you mix them together in a proper way, guess what? You're going to have a beautiful cake, even though I'm not suggesting you eat cakes.
Yes.
At least not regularly.
Let me for a treat.
For a treat.
Yes.
The thing is, people's treats are never ending.
Yeah. And look, all things in moderation is like ancient wisdom from many traditions. All things in moderation. And for some reason, our cultures are more everything's bigger, stronger, longer. We think that that's what matters. So there's we've talked about this before, you and I, balance, and balance is not like a scale where it's static. Balance is a flow like state where as the environment changes, you're finding some sort of it's not homeostasis, but it's some sort of what do I want to call it? Anchoring, grounding, whatever it is,
Mm.
in the middle of a flow. So
Yes.
yes, so yeah. So
Yeah. You can't possibly have a perfectly balanced work life and home life and
that's right.
whatever life.
That's right.
You have to be in a situation where there'll be a time when you're going to be working hard and maybe not doing this, but there is some level of harmony there that allows you to do that. But it can't be called balance. Balance is a modern construct and it's falling apart rapidly.
Yeah. Yeah, harmonious is a great word because that's finding the harmony and the flow of because nothing stays the same. I mean, I think about my own journey and the twists and turns that it's taken, and nothing regretted, but boy, certain things happened in my life, and it was like, wow,
Yes.
who would have thunk? It was never on my mind.
That's why it's nothing really in nature is a straight line. It's
Yep.
all ebbs and flows and ebbs and flows. There's a season for this and a season for that.
Yeah.
And when we can get comfortable with that, I think the answer is fairly obvious.
Yeah, and we can find the answers with more grace and ease.
Correct. Yes, absolutely spot on.
They're actually there, and they're not actually that hard to discern. But when you're running, you don't notice.
True. Yeah.
So anyhow, so let's just before we close, I always like to ask folks a question that's kind of more about where they are at the moment. What is a question, by the way, that you are living into at this moment in your life?
Question would be, at this moment in time, it's moving, believe it or not strictly menopause, i.e. the people who are just moving into menopause, the 40, 45-year-olds who are thinking what's happening. It's now moving into a season of people who are into their 60s and wondering what the hell is going on and what do I do to maintain my memory, to my independence, to still be socially engaged and not feel like you're washed up and everything is in a decline or depreciating, whatever.
Yeah.
So that is becoming an important thing because women are really looking and saying, I don't want to be in a nursing home.
Well,
I don't want to lose my marbles.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, what the whole idea of people moving into these senior facilities, I mean, the cost is exorbitant.
Oh boy.
And this is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form. We have the medical technology to live. I hear we have it to at least 100. The medical technology to live to at least 100 on a regular basis, and maybe more than that. But we don't. I don't think we have the rest of the infrastructure to support people living that long in place.
No, you're absolutely right, because the current generation, their life expectancy is going to be significantly longer than you or I.
Yes.
But if you look at what's happening to them now, it would be foolish to think that they're having much more mental health issues. They are having troubles with attention.
Yeah.
They're having problems with employment and finding a good job, economically.
That's right.
And those things have a long-term effect.
Yes, they will.
So we can't take a model and simply extrapolate it without putting the effects of the environment and life as they experience as they go along. And that in itself may end up affecting their life expectancy and bringing it lower than it should be.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? And there's lots of opportunities to shift things. But yeah, that does seem to be where the trajectory is.
It's COVID did a number on young
Wow.
people. Did
Well,
a number on young
yes,
people.
it really, we can't underestimate the impact for their development, young
Yes.
development
Yes.
of COVID. That's right.
And that in itself, you forget about, yes, there was a significant number of deaths of, older people, etc. But for the younger ones, the data is not good. Those who are now on, all kinds of drugs, etc. The suicide rate,
Yeah.
the anxiety and depression rates,
Yeah.
all of those things which are negative for longevity have gone up.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So how do we address that and return it to the place where it should be? It shouldn't be a place where we get to a peak of longevity of, getting to 85, 80 something for a certain age group, which is the current group of people. And then all of a sudden see it decline. There is something wrong when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of work to do. We got to leave this legacy here. Dr. Tyre, thank you so much for being here. Our conversations always...
It's ongoing.
Yes, it is.
It's ongoing. And, it's always a pleasure to come in and just explore what's going on and trying to inspire people that there is a bright future.
Yeah.
Whatever is going on, that's why we have bigger brains than other mammals similar to us. We actually have the ability to solve problems. Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right. That's right. We always develop new technologies, whether that be high tech technologies or other types of technologies to solve problems. That's what we do. How can our listeners support your work or stay connected with you? And I will put it in the show notes, but why don't you just give what you want?
Okay. The best place to go is my website right now. I'm also on LinkedIn, but there's also my website. My website is getyoursassyback.com, which is exactly as it sounds. You can go to my LinkedIn. I'm there as you can see Dr. Tyre Denton there. I'm also to some extent on Instagram and Facebook. But on the website, there are two things. You could go to the menopause quiz, which, like I said, because longevity in women and menopause are correlated, it's a good place to start.
Yes.
Or then you could decide, guess what? I want to know a bit more. I want to see how to improve things. So you can book a no obligations 15-minute call with me, and there's a calendar on my page.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
For sharing your heart,
pleasure.
sharing your wisdoms, and your presence with us. It's very exciting for me to be able to share people like you with my audience, because I've had the opportunity to spend time with you, and it's always inspiring, always edifying. We always explore new ideas and all of that, and I just love it. And this is gonna impact a large number of people. So I appreciate you being here. And if you give me 1 minute, I'm gonna close it out with a quick invitation to the audience, and we'll call it a day. But thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So audience, if today's episode spoke to you, I want you to reflect on this question. What's one step that's soul aligned that I can take today? And as always, subscribe, share this moment with someone standing at their own threshold, and join us again for the next Soul Sync moment. See you soon. Thank you.